Hey everybody, welcome back to TechOdyssey. So I'm here today with the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3. And I want to talk about, am I happy with it? Like, is it something that I think is actually a good, worthwhile device? I've been using it for about 5 days now. I went ahead and I got the Fold S Pen so that I can use it just like other stuff. And yeah, I mean, largely I like it. It's very, very much just like the Z Fold 2. It's slightly thinner. They changed up the colors. It's got a water protection, water resistance rating on it. The biggest thing here, though, is S Pen support, and they added 120 hertz refresh rate on the front screen, which I appreciate because it was a little disconcerting going back and forth from the big screen at 120 hertz and then the small screen on the outside with 60 hertz. But also at $17.99. So there are two things I want to talk about in this video. One is it a good pickup for somebody who doesn't have a Fold, and is it a good pickup for somebody who has the Fold? Because that's two distinct different recommendations and topics that I want to discuss because, well, should you be picking up this $17.99 Fold 3 after you just spent $2,000 last year? Is it really worth it? I mean, are you going to get any value out of it, especially at the price? And two, if somebody doesn't have it already, then yeah, this is definitely the best time to jump in on it and pick one up because it's the best Fold ever. And of course, it's the best folding, multitasking, gigantic smartphone out there in the smartphone market. So that's what I want to talk about here. But before we get into that, I do want to say if this is your first time stopping by the channel, thank you for being here. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And you're going to get a lot of this because I've got the S Pen in my hand this video. So I hope you're ready. Anyway, let's talk about the Z Fold 3. The Z Fold 2, very, very good phone last year. I have it right here. Ta-da! It's great. It's very much like this one. There's not a whole lot of a difference on the outside. About 2 millimeters of thickness. They changed the way that it looks on the back. You get the Phantom finish instead of the Mystic finish. Whatever. So, one is shiny, one's flat. That's really all you need to know. The Mystic one from last year, it's shiny. Here, I'll take the case off the back of this and you can see. Ta-da! It's got a glossy, like mirror-like finish. And then we have the new one here, which, let me take this case off, is a flat finish. Largely, I like it. I think it looks better. You can even see here on the back, they changed the way the cameras look, but they're the exact same cameras. And it's funny because they even made the lens look bigger, but it's the same camera. You're going to get the basically same experience. So when it comes to this phone, the Z Fold 2 last year, like I said, it was huge, like leaps and bounds better than the Z Fold, the original one. Actually, the Fold. It wasn't called the Z Fold, then they added the Z whatever, they thought it was a good idea. So the Fold 2, I liked it. They changed it, they refined it, they polished it, bigger screen on the outside, 120 hertz refresh rate, all sorts of great things, 5G, really good solid device. And then this go around, they kind of refined it a little bit further. But when you look at last year, I spent $2,000 on last year's model, and it's a very good phone, and you're going to get 95% the same experience. What's clutch, though, is the S Pen, and I really got to say I like it a lot. And if you're in the market for actually trading in your old one to get a new one, it may be worth your while, because this right here, and using it in conjunction with my Z Fold 3, it's basically replaced my Tab S7 Plus, and I want to talk about that more later, not in this video, but this right here actually is a really good combination because it allows me to do all my normal tablet things with my phone. So that's one thing that I think this phone is really designed for, is the ultimate multitasking phone. A lot of us use tablets at home in the evening because it's got a bigger screen. You don't like to use a smaller screen all the time. So if you want to get out the S Pen, that's one thing I never really cared about with the Note. I always thought that the screen was just a little bit too small, and I hated writing with that tiny little stylus. So when this came out, I thought, I'm going to give this a whirl. And the only reason that I decided to give it a whirl was because of the S Pen. If they just added 120 hertz on the outside, and if they added water resistance, I don't care. Like, I am not spending another $1,800 plus tax for that. But with this S Pen, I use my Tab S7 Plus all the time, but I don't like to because it's gigantic. It's got a 12.4 inch screen. Now, that's nice, but I really wish that there was a smaller alternative. Yes, I know they have the 11-inch one. I have that tablet too. This right here, I like the iPad mini. So I've always wanted a smaller Samsung tablet, but with basically flagship features. And this is basically it. So if you want a tablet, but you don't want to buy a tablet, you don't want a big gigantic one, but you want something that gives you the productivity of the Note and a tablet, but also in a phone, this is a great deal. I like it a lot. And if that's something that's really important to you, sure, go trade in your Fold 2, pay the extra money, and get the Fold 3. You'll probably enjoy it. You might even think that it's worthwhile over the long term because the S Pen really does bring in a lot of different elevated things you can do. So if you've already got it and you want the S Pen, go for it. If you don't care about the S Pen, there's absolutely zero reason you should consider this. Take it out of your cart, close your browser, quit looking at it, just forget about it till the new Fold comes out next year. Now, if you don't have a Fold and you want the S Pen, it's a no-brainer. I mean, as long as your wife or your girlfriend or your husband gives you the sign-off on it and says, hey, you can go ahead and spend the family money on that, it's an expensive phone. I mean, it's $17.99. Look, yes, $19.99 was really expensive last year, but $17.99 is, well, it's still really expensive. That's a lot of money for a phone. But when you look at it from, well, the Tab S7 is still like $600, or S7 Plus, I'm not telling you MSRP. MSRP is like $749. You're going to be able to find it cheaper than that. So if you look at what you get from a phone perspective, but also a basically fully functional tablet all in the palm of your hand, yeah, if you're going to get an S21 Ultra, it's basically $1,000. If you're going to get a Tab S7, S7 Plus, it's basically $500 to $600. So you basically get a 2-in-1 that you can carry around and use all the time. You don't have to charge two different devices. You don't have to use a giant tablet. It's really convenient. And yes, it is cheaper than last year. But of course, yes, they added the water resistance. They added the 120 hertz on the outside screen. They added, yeah, it's basically it. But it's really good. So if you are never on board with the Fold and you want to get one now, if you don't want the S Pen, I would say get a Fold 2. You can find really good resale deals. Like, you can find these things for under $1,000 on sale, like lots of places. You can trade in stuff and get it through Samsung. You can pick one up on a resale on Swappa, on Amazon, Amazon Renewed. There are a lot of ways you can get it where you're not spending $2,000. So if you want to get, like, if you want to spend $1,000, the Fold 2 is still really good. I wouldn't spend more than $1,000 on it. If you are, then find a trade-in deal. Get yourself the Fold 3. The Fold 3, I like it. It feels like a very complete device with the S Pen. I still don't feel like it's a complete replacement for the Note, though. People that like the Note, they're just two different levels of phone. Like, I do like, I've got the wrong fold here. I do like what this brings to the table, but it's still a little awkward sometimes. Even this, I had the Fold, I had the Fold 2, I've still got it. This is the Fold 3 now. It still doesn't feel exactly like using the Note, and a lot of people really like the Note. This thing needs a compartment on it. It's really annoying that there's nowhere to put the S Pen. Yes, you can get a case for it. The cases I'm largely not a big fan of. It's very much just like using the S21 Ultra. The S21 Ultra, I have the S Pen case for this, but it puts this little wedge over here on the side where it locks in, and then it makes it even bigger than it normally is. So I don't think that's quite the solution. If they want this to replace the Note, and that's kind of what the S21 Ultra is. I mean, it's basically, it's kind of a Note, but it's not. It gives you most of the same performance, most of the same elements. You can get the S Pen Pro now, which gives you the Bluetooth functionality and stuff. So that's the closest experience you're going to get to a Note. You can use that S Pen with the Fold, which is nice. You can get the Fold S Pen, or you can get the S Pen Pro if you want the elevated enhancements that you can use for it. So just taking a look at it, though, if you've never got one before, now is the best time. And you can probably get some deals on it in a few months. Like, the prices on these things are pretty good about dropping, just because we know Samsung. If you know that you want one and you want to save a little bit of money, as soon as these sales are off and they're not giving you all the free stuff anymore, usually within 3 to 4 weeks, they will price drop it. And especially towards the holidays, they're really going to want to move some of these things because that's when people are spending the most money. So if you're not in the market right now and you want to wait and see how it goes, you can probably get it a little bit cheaper later. And of course, you'll be able to get them used on the resale cheaper, much faster than that. So that's really kind of my 2 cents or 3 cents, because this is two folds, so the Fold 3 and the Fold 2, maybe it's 5 cents. But yeah, it's still a very unique and different experience. Like, it's very cool to be able to use your phone like this, but at the same point in time, it's kind of cumbersome. Like, this is big for a phone as opposed to here, as opposed to this. I mean, yeah, they're completely different, but when you close up the Z Fold, look how small the screen is compared to the S21 Ultra. So a lot of people are still in the idea and the mindset that they'd rather have one big screen like this that's not huge and cumbersome, that's not oversized, than being able to have one like this where you're constantly using the front screen and then opening it up, and then it's a really big screen. So it's two different schools of thought there. the jury's out for me on this one. What's really making it more appealing and interesting for me is the S Pen. I really wasn't that big of a fan of the Fold 2 or the original Fold, but I'm using this effectively as a phone and a tablet replacement. Finally, I wasn't doing that before. Now I am. So I do like that. I think that that adds that extra little piece of icing on top that makes it really, really good. So that's all I've got in this video. Recap, if you've already got the Fold 2, if you don't want the S Pen, if it's not that important to you, stick with it. Don't even worry about the Fold 3. If you don't have one, it's kind of where it's at. If you want to get one, it's the best one ever. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section. I'll get back with you. If you enjoy the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.